go into that conversation, we are going to have a quick fireside conversation with the Deputy Prime Minister of the Federal Government of Belgium. And joining us, and I would like you to welcome Charlie Perreau, the head of startup section Les Echo, who will be in conversation with the Deputy Prime Minister of the Federal Government of Belgium, Petra De Sutter. Welcome, Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for still being here with us today. And thank you for coming here.
My pleasure.
So, Petra De Sutter, you are serving as Deputy Prime Minister of Belgium. How is the job? Very difficult or very, very, very difficult?
I don't know if I would use the word difficult, because it's also very gratifying. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to be in that job, but it's very intense because you have to do a lot of things. I have my own portfolio, but as a Deputy Prime Minister, you're in the cockpit and you do the daily governance together with the Prime Minister and the other Deputy Prime Ministers. And then there is the pressure of the media all the time, so you always have to multitask and do five things at the same time. So it's extremely intense. I wouldn't say difficult, but yeah, I very much like the job.
You know, female representation is not very, very common in politics, so you're one of the few role models that we have. Why do you think you are like an exception, or?
Well, I must say, not really. The Belgian federal government, we started in October 2020, has actually today, we are 20 ministers in total, and we have 11 women and 9 men. So, yeah, this is good. However, of all the deputy prime ministers, I'm the only woman. So that is sometimes very lonely, because if you are in these meetings, it's maybe cliché and not everybody believes it, but the dynamic of negotiation, of having these meetings, of coming to decisions is different. When I started, I was together with Sophie Wilmès. Maybe some people will know the name. She was our prime minister in the previous government, but she left the government, but in the beginning we were 2, and although we have very much different political views, there was a kind of complicity between us, and we could just look at each other and understand without a word. So I miss her, because I'm the only one now, and it really makes a difference. And this illustrates as well that in politics, of course, we have more and more women in parliament, also in governments, but the higher you climb the ladder, the less women you find. It still is difficult to have a career and to be really at the top. I'm, in my portfolio, responsible for public administration. And also there we've seen, when I started 3 years ago, we had about 30% women in top positions. And then I started making the selection juries gender equal, parity in the juries. I didn't want to work with quota, because I would not have a political agreement on the use of quota. I knew that. But I started to do this in the juries, and we have seen that amongst the candidates that are presenting themselves for these jobs, now the amount of women is increasing, and now we are at 40% in 3 years' time. My dream is to get to 50%, of course. So it can be done.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about education, because that's a very important topic for you. You know that we're witnessing multiple crises right now, humanitarian crisis, climate change, post-pandemic economic crisis, of course. In this context, why is it important to talk about education, according to you?
I was very happy with that question when I saw it, but I just finished a book on the challenges for the future and the crisis where we are in, and I talked with 20 people, scientists, philosophers, artists, young people, entrepreneurs, and so on, to have their answers. Almost all of them mentioned education as crucial in challenging or facing, let's say, the challenges of the future and preparing for that future. If we're talking, whatever you want to talk about, let's talk about populism and fake news and disinformation. Or let's talk about, the digital world, of course, and AI and algorithms. It always starts with education. You have to teach young people how to be critical, how to deal with these new realities, social media, for instance, how to behave there. Education is also still in our countries a democratic system where all children should have equal opportunities, and of course this is not the reality yet, but at least access to education is granted in Belgium, in France, in many European countries, I would say, and all over the world, I hope. And it is crucial because there it is that we prepare the future generations that will make the decisions, that will be political leaders to deal with the challenges and the crises that we will have to deal with in the future. It's also an environment where children, young people learn to behave socially, to have social behavior, to be respectful towards each other, and to learn to debate in a normal way. So it really starts, everything starts with education, and it is in every debate, in every discussion, mentioned as the solution or one of the things we have to focus on to prepare for the future.
And digital enter a lot of sectors, and of course education. So do you think that we have to be worried about technology, and maybe, of course, we have to talk about ChatGPT or not?
Well, also in my conversations that I did for that book, technology, the digital evolutions, and AI were mentioned a lot, also amongst young people. And they offer opportunities and they come with challenges. I think it's always the case with new technology. I'm a scientist from background, so in scientific developments, you always have new applications, potential in medicine, but you also have ethical questions that are raised. And with AI, it's not different. We can do tremendous, amazing things with AI. It can really help us in a lot of processes. But we always have to remain, in charge. This is also what, at the European level, with the AI Act, which is coming very soon, we hope, the human-centeredness of AI is emphasized, and the data sets that we use to develop algorithms should not be biased. Otherwise, we will build in this bias in the algorithms. And we have examples. I think it was Google that used algorithms for recruitment, and then for some reason, they saw that the recruitees, if that's a word, it was very skewed because they had used data sets which were biased. So specifically, if we talk about gender bias and discrimination in general, we have to be careful with AI and with these algorithms. But once you take care of that and you have a regulatory framework in place that looks at the quality of the algorithms, of the systems, I think the potentiality, the possibilities of AI are huge. And again, it's not different from other technological developments. So we should not be afraid of it. We should regulate. That's for sure. And I think Europe can play an important role in setting standards. We've done that with GDPR. I know that GDPR, when it came for privacy protection, everybody, I guess, knows what it is. It was criticized because our own industry or enterprises were afraid that this would induce competition, false competition with other regions of the world, and they would suffer from that. And what have we seen? That GDPR has been adopted by the other regions of the world. So we do not have to be afraid as European Union to set standards. We are an important player, an important economy, and so we can set standards that will be followed by other regions, and I'm sure it is the same thing with the AI Act, which is coming soon.
And what are the other challenges that education will have to face in the future?
Well, the most important thing is really for me the danger of disinformation and fake news, and the fact that today opinions are valued in the same way as scientific facts or evidence, and that's a very dangerous evolution. For me, science is, it asks questions, it provides answers that need to be challenged. I mean, the whole process of what we call falsification. This is how the scientific method, the scientific process works. And I think it's the COVID crisis that has done a lot of harm. Before, scientists had authority. If a professor came on television to say, well, this is how it is, people would say, well, this person has done the research, he's clever, he knows what he's talking about, or she, if it's a woman, and we will accept that. Today, this is not the case. People will criticize, they will be skeptical, and I think the COVID crisis has done a lot of harm in that respect. So for me, this is the main challenge, again, in education, to teach young people how to be critical, but how to distinguish facts from, not fiction, but opinions. If you're not an expert and you have an opinion on whatever crisis or problem in the world, it's just an opinion. Before, it was somebody sitting at a bar drinking a beer that was giving opinions. Now, with social media, this can be enlarged. People are trapped in bubbles when they enter social media communities, where they have, reinforcement of their own ideas. They only talk to people that think alike, and for them, this is the new truth. The final danger there is, I think, the danger for our democracy, where also the whole political system is put into question. There is a lot of distrust towards politicians because people are not able to distinguish the fake from real facts or news or information. And I think we have to make sure that our young people are resilient towards this new evolution, which I think is quite worrisome.
Well, thank you very much for sharing all of that. Can you just tell us the title of your book?
Oh yeah, Who Will Save the Future? And asking the question is starting the debate. Should the future be saved, or will everything be okay? And if it needs some adjustments, how will we do it, and who has to do it? And my answer is young people. I'm very hopeful after all the discussions I had that we'll be able to manage.
Well, thank you very much again, Petra. Thank you.